Okay, our topic for today is the fight for New York. So far, in terms of the fighting, we've learned about the first battles at Lexington and Concord. We've talked about the Battle of Bunker Hill up in Massachusetts and how after George Washington showed up after that battle, he sent some men over to Fort Ticonderoga, where they stole a bunch of cannons, brought them back to Boston, and managed to get the British to leave Boston, which was a big boost for the Continental Army, that they were able to get the British to leave. Well, the British got to go somewhere, right? So they waited a while on their ships, waiting to decide where they were going to go next. They certainly weren't going to turn around and go back to England. So after looking at a map of the colonies, the British commander decided the obvious place that he should focus his army was New York City. And so we're going to learn today about, after the British leave Boston, what comes next. So why New York? Why New York City? Well, on this map here, you see the red area is Long Island and New York City. And so this is showing you the whole colonies, right? And why I've highlighted this, one, is to show you where we're talking about, and two, to show you that this is a strategic city to hold. Because if you hold this city, it gives you access to the Hudson River. And the Hudson River runs north and south right along the New York border. So if you control that river, it would allow you to basically cut New England off from the rest of the colonies, which became part of Britain's strategy. So, what were the details? What went on? In the summer of 1776, British General William Howe lands an army near New York City. He first goes to what's called Staten Island, and then comes across and lands on New York City itself. Not Manhattan, but first starts in Long Island and works his way towards what is now Brooklyn. The British Army was made up of soldiers who had been removed from Boston, right? And those are the soldiers that were already here, as well as an important group called Hessians. It looks like Hessians. It's pronounced Hessians. And these were rented soldiers from Germany. So the British Army, which is already strong, had added these rented soldiers who were some of the best soldiers in the world. Very, very dangerous, very well-trained soldiers. In the largest battle of the war, the British defeated Washington's army and took control of New York City. And it wasn't one massive battle. It took several small battles, and we all just kind of grouped them together as sort of the battle for New York. But over several different small fights, the British very clearly defeated Washington's army, pushed them back, and took control of New York City. And this gave the British Army control over the Hudson River. George Washington made a bunch of mistakes in this battle. He didn't plan for it particularly well and didn't make the best decisions during the battle, and ended up losing about 5,000 soldiers, killed or wounded or captured. So for the Continental Army, that was a big, big loss. I mean, losing 5,000 men, that was a big chunk of their army. But Washington did do some positive things. Most importantly, he kept his army together. He kept the army out of British hands. He was able to sneak his army out of New York City and sort of escape the British at several points. And he got some help doing this. There was one instance where some fog set in and allowed him to escape when he was basically surrounded by the British. And he relied on some really skilled sailors to help them sail across 2 different rivers to get away from the British. So the battle was a loss for the colonists, but Washington was able to keep the army together. So some of the big results: New York is going to remain in British control for the remainder of the war. And Washington's army, the Continental Army, was very demoralized heading into the winter. So morale was very low. They were not feeling very good about themselves, not feeling very good about their chances. So Washington knows it's good he kept the army from getting captured, but he's going to need to do something in order to improve morale and get his troops feeling good about themselves again.